I'm going to say eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
I feel so honored every time I get to be in this room. And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land.
I hope everybody's inspired to join together as a community of artists and speak out against what's going on. And I'm going to leave this and say, ICE.
So there was nothing when the children were being raped, dropped off with signs at the borders. There was no speeches about that at all. There was no speeches when the Americans that were, even some of them immigrated to this country, that were murdered by the people that were animals, that raped them. Jocelyn Nungary from my home state of Texas was raped under, right by water. And then they tried to dispose her body. There was no speeches about any of that. And this whole notion, and you got Chris Murphy saying that they are gassing schools. That's a lie. That's just a lie. And to say that ICE and Border Patrol, who have been babysitting for 4 years, they weren't policing. They were taking care of those kids at the border. They weren't able to do their job. Now, all of a sudden, they have hate in their heart and want to just tear families apart. That's just not true. They have laws to follow based on what Congress passed. If you don't like the laws, that is fine. But tell your elected officials to change the laws on the books.
I just love these celebrities who say, everybody's illegal on stolen land. If you don't like the land in our history 250 years later, you're free to leave. Yeah. If you feel as though you're being brought up on stolen land, as ill-educated as you are, then you should actually go somewhere where you feel as though the land belongs. I don't know, Finland? I'm sure you can go back and find someone indigenous to Finland or Norway. If you go through Europe, do you know anything about world history? Do you think the Germans were just born in Germany? That's the way it all started? Yeah. People don't migrate, people don't change, people don't travel, Vikings don't move, Columbus doesn't explore. I'm sorry, what planet are you on?
Did you know that in order to send Trevor Noah into space using a catapult, the catapult would need an arm that is 300 miles long and accelerates at 15,000 miles per hour in order to launch Trevor Noah into outer orbit? Did you know that if a Trevor Noah was flying toward the sun, head first, at 23,000 miles per hour, his face on the front of his head, which is closer to the sun, would melt faster than the back of his head, which receives no sunlight? And did you know that if the sun rejected Trevor Noah and shot him back toward the Earth with super megaton force, hurtling through the atmosphere toward Florida, that his ashy remains would fall over the amazing Benny Show studio in Tampa, Florida, where you can learn more fun facts like these.
Okay. So sometimes you just know Jared's going to cook. In the morning, I get a brief. I never watch the meme ahead of time, and I get a brief from a client. He's like, yo, we got a spicy meme for you today. And that certainly is a spicy meme today. Holy moly, did so much happen over the weekend. I thought that us roasting Gavin Newsom alive was going to be the biggest story of the weekend, but there is lawsuits being slung. Some of our friends are getting married. Donald Trump is threatening to sue the Epstein estate, then threatening to sue Trevor Noah, the failed comedian. My goodness, what did we learn in the Epstein list? So much. ALX is still building the show. There's so much that has been learned about Jeffrey Epstein and his network and his organism. That is clearly an intel op. It's now been proven. We were right. This is a child trafficking operation. A functionary of the CIA. It's clear as day. You can see it. It ensnares the royal family, presidents, and pretty much everybody inside of the celebrity ecosystem except for Kanye West and Donald Trump. That's it. Kanye West, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. That's it. Although Donald Trump and Elon Musk are both in the Epstein files. Now, what do we mean by that? We're going to unpack all of it on today's program. And also a very lovely and warm-hearted Congratulations to Dan Bongino, who's back on the air. Dan's been a mentor to us. We like Dan, and man, it's just good to have Dan back. That's it. Some people can be frustrated about what happened at the FBI. I certainly am. I mean, the Epstein files is a good example of this. But we got what we wished for now. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. We have millions and millions and millions of files to pour through. And we're going to bring you the top line today with Rudy Giuliani. Whoa! Okay. Rudy is one of those guys who was arrested for what he said was happening in Georgia with the election theft. But Rudy also knows a lot of the players inside of this ecosystem with Epstein, and knows a lot of how these operations worked. And so we look forward to chatting with him today, Monday, February 2nd, 2026. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. We released our California documentary last night. It's done millions of views. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, it's available on our X, YouTube, or anywhere else that you consume or watch our content. Gavin Newsom has melted down over all this. I'm just going to give you the top line here for what we discovered and what's actually going on in California. Again, we very much encourage you to watch it. It's a 20-minute documentary. We worked very, very hard on it. It takes a lot to produce a 20-minute documentary. We have our facts locked and loaded, checked, and thorough. Gavin Newsom, though, doesn't. And so we're going to go through Gavin Newsom's fact check of our investigation live on the show right now. So lock in. But let me give you the top line here before we rip Gavin Newsom. Again, rip his heart out one more time, because we've already done it a couple times this morning. And it's been pretty much my favorite thing to do over the weekends is to publicly feud and fight with Gavin Newsom and go scorched earth. Get that Gavin Newsom fact check ready, Klein. You got that? Okay. So what did we find? What we found was that California funnels billions of dollars, federal dollars, into something called the homeless industrial complex. California claims they have a crisis with homelessness with American citizens. And then they ask the federal government to give them billions of dollars. The feds do it. A lot of this money came from Biden. The Trump team is just cracking their knuckles on this kind of stuff. A lot of it comes from a place called HUD, Housing and Urban Development. So all that money flows into California, and they flows directly from the state of California into these nonprofits. These nonprofits go out and they buy these big hotels. They convert them into homeless shelters. They commit an enormous amount of fraud throughout that process there. That's provable. So there's provable fraud. We found $100 million of provable fraud. You can pop up the YouTube now, please, and show you guys. I encourage you to watch it here. And why don't you just have it roll? Just have it roll in this, have it roll in the background. So it's we found hundreds of millions of dollars of provable fraud. The easiest way to prove that is just to look at the numbers. The numbers, homeless people in California have skyrocketed since they started spending this money. What is this money exactly? $31 billion spent in the last couple of years on homelessness. Where'd it go? Where does it go? Where's it go? Well, don't go to fighting homelessness. To put that in perspective, $31 billion is as much as buying every homeless person in California a house in West Virginia. The average price of a home in West Virginia is $165,000. $31 billion means $170,000 was spent per homeless person in California. Because you just bought houses for them. It's more than the GDP of 91 different countries. That's the total gross domestic product of 91 countries on Earth. So this is an obscene amount of money. Now, there's provable instances of fraud, and we went through them. Some of them have been federally charged. Some of them are just like LA scandals. You can see it on the street. Look at this filth. Look at this. And there's provable fraud. But then we get a whistleblower that tells us that there's a much bigger tamale here that's being taken advantage of by California. And that is the homeless industrial complex bringing in homeless illegals into California by the busload or boatload or plane load by enticing free goodies. How does that help out California? California is having a massive population loss right now. they're set to lose the most congressional seats of any state in the 2030 census, which, by the way, counts bodies, not citizens. So California needs more bodies, as many bodies as they can possibly shove into their state. They're going to do it before the census because they're desperate to keep their power. If Democrats lose a lock 5, 6, 7, who knows how many congressional seats they'll lose. Listen, there's 2.5 million illegals in California right now. That's like 5 congressional seats right there. 600,000 people per congressional seat. That's 5 congressional seats. Right there. California is rigging the system. Using the homeless industrial complex, using dollars from the federal government, which the Trump administration, of course, does not want to spend on illegals and does not want to give to California for this problem. And so we went to California. We just began the process of exposing this. Shout out to Nick Shirley, who's also there. And again, this is the cost of a home in West Virginia. You can see 91 different countries have lower GDPs than what California spends on just their homeless industrial complex. The entire system is meant to rob and to rig from you, the American taxpayer, using the homeless crisis to do it. It is a cruel form of human smuggling. Gavin Newsom has decided to crash out once again over our reporting. Just kind of shows you exactly how touchy this subject is for Gavin. Let's go ahead and jump on in here and let's fact check the Gavin Newsom fact check of us. First, Gavin Newsom, press office says, I watched Benny Johnson's video so you don't have to lose brain cells. Oh, okay. Okay, let's go. Come on, bro. As expected, lies and rage bait. He's saying rage bait? Wait a second. He's accusing me of rage bait? Gavin Newsom brought Trump knee pads to Davos and started throwing them around at world leaders. He's accusing me of rage bait? Gavin Newsom? The guy who's throwing around Trump knee pads at Davos, flinging them in the faces of world leaders, is saying, I'm a rage baiter. Really? Okay. Got it. Straight from his Russia-paid influencer starter kit. Yeah, there you go. Here's Gavin Newsom. There you go. He's accusing me of rage bait. This is what Gavin Newsom was doing in front of the.
Too. But yeah. I want to read you a.
Yeah. What were you? I was just hustling. I was just hustling, man.
It was just like hustling.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's rip the throat out of this thing. Let's go. Here we go. Fact check of Eddie Johnson's California video. Oh, man, this is why you can't make DEI hires, bro. This is why you can't make DEI hires. Every bullet point is wrong. Every one. Let's go. $100 billion in fraud. No, dude. I said there's $100 million. Gavin, are you telling on yourself? No, there's $100 billion in fraud. No, dude, put up my tweet. We found $100 million in one day. That's what I said. That's what my original tweet said. You can go see my original tweet. My original tweet. You can just click on the Gavin Newsom. Click on Gavin Newsom's tweet, please. Click on Gavin Newsom's tweet. Now scroll down. Yeah, that's right. There you go. $100 million is what I said. Not $100 billion. So why is Gavin Newsom claiming there's $100 billion in fraud? Are you telling on yourself, Gavin? Bro, how bad are you at this? Keep going. $24 billion in missing homeless funds. No, I didn't say they were missing. I say they're stolen. I say you're misallocating them. You're spending an obscene amount of money. That's true. And you're not spending that money wisely. And a lot of that money is being stolen. Hundreds of millions of dollars being stolen. That's provable. $23 million in homeless funds being misused is evidence of wider fraud. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's just a statement of fact. 60% of the homeless shelters are filled with undocumented people. No, I said criminal aliens, because that's what they are, getting free luxury items. This is a made-up number from an anonymous source with no basis in document study. It says real as a unicorn. No, dude, you made it illegal. California law makes it illegal to check citizenship status at the homeless shelters. So Gavin has no idea how many illegals are using the taxpayer dollars and the federal dollars in the homeless shelters. Gavin has no idea. Our whistleblower does, who works inside of the homeless industrial complex. California's population is only increasing because they're shipping undocumented people into the state and housing them in homeless shelters. Yeah, that's true. You straight up said it. And by the way, we also uncovered deleted documents from a homeless industrial complex from inside of one of these massive nonprofits that say, yeah, I mean, listen, that's the goal. California's population has increased 3 years in a row. Oh, really? Well, then why are you losing so many congressional seats? California is using the issue of homelessness to ensure it doesn't lose congressional seats. That's right. Again, this is completely false. How is it false, dude? You admit it. Members of the Democratic Party straight up admit it. You're losing congressional seats. You're set to lose. Get me the map. You're set to lose dozens of congressional seats. Not dozens, but at least a half dozen. Some estimates say 5. Some estimates say 4. Some estimates say 10. But they're set to lose a lot. This is not the most up-to-date map. The most up-to-date map has 4, a negative net 4 congressional seats for California. There are 2.5 million criminal aliens in California. If we were to deport all of them, California would lose 10 congressional seats. That's a matter of fact. There you go. All right. So now what happens? Oh, man. So now we're going to spend all day dunking on Gavin Newsom. Anyway, we're so excited that he, look at this. Dude, there's a community note on it. I didn't see this. This is a brand new community note. Johnson's original post explicitly says $100 million in fraud. Newsom's office falsely claims Johnson said $100 billion. 100 million is 1,000 times smaller than 100 million. So perfect. Great fact check, Gavin. Can't wait for you to be president. You're totally going to be president. You're going to win. Yeah, you're going to do so well. Oh, man, dude. That's destroying Gavin Newsom. If you're looking for somebody to, on a daily basis, to just drag Gavin Newsom, you're in the right spot. You're in the right place. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's been too much fun. We've had a blast over the weekend, and I got some quality time with my kids. I've been looking forward to that. I'm just in a really good mood. Okay. I'm in a really good mood. When I'm with my kids and we're cooking, we're eating masa chips, baby. Speaking of a good California product, baby. Masa chips is what we're snacking on. It's something that is delicious. It's good for you. It's good for the soul to support a company that wants you to be healthier. We're going to be doing some great work this week, actually, with RFK Jr. And Kid Rock. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be we're very excited about it. But this is the way that I sort of feed my snack, my desire to be snacking all the time, which I do. I have a very obsessive personality, don't we all? And not wanting to feel like I'm eating petroleum products, right? Like I'm eating like literal motor oil, which is what Doritos are made of. No, dude, masa chips are made of 3 things: salt, corn, and beef tallow. So if you love feeling good, and if you love feeling energized, give masa a try. Go to masachips.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 25% off your first order. Simply click the link in the video description or scan the QR code to claim this delicious offer. If you don't feel like ordering online, Masa Chips is available in your Sprouts Market. If you can find them, they fly off the shelves. Okay. Trump slams unwatchable Grammys. It threatens to sue total loser Trevor Noah over Epstein joke. Ooh, baby. Okay. Donald Trump's in a suing mood. President Trump announced this weekend that he plans on suing the people who were manipulating him and manipulating the national media, national political landscape, into thinking that Donald Trump had done anything criminal with Jeffrey Epstein. Let me show you this evidence from Michael Wolff's own emails with Jeffrey Epstein. We have so much to go over with the Epstein files. We're going to rip through them all. We've been poring over them all weekend. Michael Wolff and Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, both of them were emailing back and forth a lot. You'll remember Michael Wolff, scumbag, author, scumbag, salacious, gossip columnist, effectively, who emails with Jeffrey Epstein a lot and met with Jeffrey Epstein a lot. And there's one particular exchange with Jeffrey Epstein where Michael Wolff explains exactly what the left is about to do to Donald Trump. And you watch that all play out over the last couple months. In this exchange, Michael Wolff says, well, you know what you should do, Jeffrey, is you should be taking advantage of the fact that you knew Trump, and that even though Trump's cut you off and you've had no connection with him for years and decades, the fact that you're a monster and a pederast, abuser, and one of the world's greatest, one of the world's worst evil men, you know, greatest monsters, you should use that and blackmail him simply by proxy. You could destroy Trump because you're such an evil son of a bitch. You're such a bastard. You're such a monster. The fact that Trump knew you like 20 years ago is enough to end him. This would create a debt. You could blackmail Trump, and then you could potentially ruin his political career. They knew that Trump did nothing wrong because Jeffrey Epstein, in his own hand, says Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Jeffrey Epstein, in his own writing, says Trump never got a massage. Nothing bad ever happened with Donald Trump. None of the victims have ever said Trump did anything wrong to them. All of the victims have exonerated Trump entirely, including the chief Epstein victim, Virginia Roberts, who says that Donald Trump was a pure gentleman to her. Everyone from Epstein to Maxwell to all of the victims, none of them. They were all on camera on MSNBC. They were all asked, hey, did Trump ever do anything wrong to you? None of them raised their hands. None of them said anything. None of them have ever alleged anything about Trump. Trump is in the Epstein files. What is that exactly? Well, I'll show you. Here we go. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files because as soon as the women, Klein, you're just going to have to roll with me. You have to work with ALX and roll with me here. As soon as the women learned that you could become famous and potentially get a payout for making up allegations against powerful men in the Epstein universe, they decide that the tip line started ringing off the hook about psychotic and overly medicated individuals that were making up lies about Donald Trump. So I want to be like perfectly honest with you. I want to tell you absolutely everything that we learned in the Epstein files. We've done videos on this and we've done recording on this, but here we go. There are allegations against Donald Trump. They're not worth reading. Let's just say these allegations are of the most obscene and grotesque, graphic, novel obscenities. You know, it's just really sick stuff, okay? Stuff that is so lurid and so extreme and so demonic and so satanic that like a germaphobe like Donald Trump, like a guy like Donald Trump who you know is fastidious, like it's just like it doesn't even stand to reason if you're taking him at face value. But then the FBI goes and investigates. And what they find is that there's absolutely no merit to this at all. There are no merit to any of these claims. They take the claims on their crisis line, they go and investigate them, and they find that these individuals are lying. And they say that in the documents. But they go and they've gone and they did their investigation. In fact, one of the individuals is on a psychiatric hold. One of the individuals making up these claims about Trump, calling in, making up these claims about Trump, is on a psych hold. And it has been referred for multiple psychotic evaluations, is on all these drugs. And I want to like just off the top, off the dome there, like say that releasing 3 million documents, releasing all of this is the single greatest moment of clarity that we've ever had on Epstein. I'm really glad that it happened. It's really important to show people how this all worked. And I want to show you why there was reticence there. The reason why there was reticence, and we talked about it, and it was something that we were very honest about, is that there are people that didn't do anything wrong. There are two groups of people. There are people who are named in these files that didn't do anything wrong. And what we're talking about is the abuse of trafficked women, the abuse of young people, the abuse, across the globe on Epstein's plane and in all of his dalliances, the working with intelligence agencies. Please keep up that tweet. The working with intelligence agencies in order to facilitate compromise on the world's most powerful leaders. That's clearly what Epstein was a part of. Hey, Alex, I want that photo of Epstein with all the CIA documents. It's just obvious. Obvious. So here, you can see the lurid claims about Trump, and then you can see what the feds found. The feds found that the individual, swipe over, please. Keep going. Keep going. Not what I'm looking for, but ALX and Danny. Hey, Danny, I want you to hop on and get me that Pfeiffer tweet, please. You know the one that I'm looking for. Yeah, right there. Complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate incidents involving police and requested mandatory psychiatric evaluations. This is what the feds found when looking into the Donald Trump allegations. This is what they found. This is what they found in their investigation to a number of people. And there are people who, frankly, they knew that the moment that these documents, Elon Musk was one of them, the moment these documents were released, that they'd be dragged. Elon Musk did email back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein was constantly trying to get Elon Musk over to his island. Elon Musk, there's zero physical evidence or any evidence at all. Elon Musk completely denies it, that he ever met with Jeffrey Epstein, that he ever went to his island, they ever partied with Jeffrey Epstein. Fake emails actually made a huge number of rounds when this was all dropped. The left is desperate to use this to get Trump, Elon, or anyone other than who it actually shows committed sick and heinous crimes. And that is actually Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman. That is clearly Prince Andrew. And that is, of course, a non-authoritative list on all of the people that these files implicate. Some of them with photos, really sick photos. There are myriads of Bill Clinton shoving his face on Epstein's plane. And if you see a woman with a black square over her face, that's a victim. There are a myriad of photos of Bill Clinton in hot tubs with these chicks. Some of them are wearing no clothes. Bill Clinton they're sitting on Clinton's lap. These young women are sitting on his lap on the plane. What are we supposed to, you don't have any of this evidence for Trump. And the reason why is we know that, as a matter of fact, is because these files have been in the hold of the deep state and our intelligence agencies for the better part of the last 20 years. If there were photos like this one of Donald Trump with young girls sitting on his lap, Donald Trump in a hot tub with victims with his arms back like this, Donald Trump wearing Spy Who Shagged Me silk shirts with Jeffrey Epstein, do you really think that they wouldn't have released them? You really think they'd let Trump just run for president? It's easier to impeach him, file lawsuits against him, raid Mar-a-Lago. It's easier to shoot him in the head in Butler. You think you just release one of these photos, Trump's career's done. It's done. It's over. Trump in a hot tub. Trump in a hot tub. Who knows what he's wearing? Who knows what the chick's wearing? Doesn't look like anything. I don't know. She's a sex trafficking victim. Trump in a hot tub with a sex trafficking victim. Trump with a sex trafficking victim on his lap, arm around him. Yeah, dude. No. I'm not buying it. I won't buy it. And now that I've seen everything in the files, I'm now so squarely in the camp of this was a hoax from the perspective of Donald Trump. The Epstein files were not a hoax. We've learned an enormous amount in the Epstein files. We've learned that, according to Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates had an STD from the Russian hookers that were procured for him. We know, as a matter of fact, that Jeffrey Epstein did procure young Russians for Bill Gates. You know, why was Jeffrey Epstein trying to get Elon Musk to his island? And by the way, in case you're wondering what's the end result of all of that, the end result is that Elon Musk was one of the smartest people to say, no, I want nothing to do with you. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein already had the next richest man. The richest man in the world in the early 2000s was Bill Gates. And you already had all the compromise you needed on Bill Gates. You could control Bill Gates entirely. Jeffrey Epstein writes a letter about Bill Gates saying he has STDs from Russian hookers that I got for him. Is there any proof to that? Yes, in fact. There's demonstrable proof to it. I'm going to put up some articles for you. Bill Gates had an affair with a young Russian bridge player. That affair proved to be the end of Bill Gates' marriage. This has been well reported, way beyond the Epstein files release. Maria Antonova is the name of the Russian bridge player. And many say that this is what ruined their relationship. Melinda Gates goes on national TV and says she can no longer be intimate with Bill Gates because she doesn't trust him. Why wasn't she intimate with Bill Gates? Jeffrey Epstein says it's because he has an STD and that he was secretly sneaking Melinda Gates antibiotics because of that STD. Oh, so sick. There are a number of other things I just won't repeat. I mean, there's lurid claims in this stuff that I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to repeat it. But I'm telling you that, like, this stands to reason. What's this photo of a dollar bill on Jeffrey Epstein's desk, signed by Bill Gates, that says, you were right. Here's $1. I don't know, man. What's Bill Gates paying Jeffrey Epstein for? I was wrong, it says, and it's signed by Bill Gates. What's that about? Exactly. Bill Gates is filthy. Filthy man. And Bill Clinton has been dragged in all this. Bill Clinton will probably end up going to jail because he refuses to testify. Why would you refuse to testify? You didn't do anything wrong. Why? It all screams guilty. The biggest scream of guilt is honestly this clip of Bill Gates. Never seen anything like it, where Bill Gates is asked, like, do you feel bad about what you did with Jeffrey Epstein? You feel at all bad about that? Like what? Like, did you do anything? You did something wrong? And Bill Gates' response here is one of the creepiest, worst, most grotesque, most skin-crawling things I've ever seen in my life. Bill Gates smiles. This is right after Jeffrey Epstein's death. Bill Gates smiles and sneers and smirks and laughs about Jeffrey Epstein's death. Here we go.
And, I've said I regretted having those dinners. And there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead. So, in general, you always have to be careful.
Look at that. Look, he's smiling. He's dead. You always have to be careful. Yeah. Producer Ashley says, I'd bet that he's not dead. I'm gonna do a recording on that today because some of the Epstein files, I didn't save the tweet. Somebody went viral this weekend saying that there's a prison guard that has now been confirmed in the Epstein files, a prison guard inside of the prison that Epstein was being held in, saying that they watched Epstein getting wheeled out in a medical wheelchair the night before his death and into a transfer van. Is Jeffrey Epstein even not dead? Megyn Kelly has talked about this. How Jeffrey Epstein may well be alive. I don't know, man. Is it there? Yeah. Oh, wow. Jeez. Let's go ahead and look here. The anonymous guard that posted on 4chan saying that he saw Epstein being swapped out confirmed being an actual person. Is Epstein in Israel stacking Bitcoin? Great question. Great question. It's clear that Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad. We have evidence of Jeffrey Epstein being in the Mossad. We have an email exchange with Jeffrey Epstein and is it Ehud Barak? where they're both nodding and winking at each other, saying, I'm not in Mossad. Are you in Mossad? No, I'm not in Mossad. Are you in Mossad? Here's Jeffrey Epstein with all his CIA documents. He's got all this. Here's Jeffrey. Look at this. Here he is smiling inside of some warehouse with all these bins of CIA evidence bins behind him. Got it? Is Jeffrey Epstein alive? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, the allegations are crazy, man. Alex, you got this one fast, bro. Yeah. People are saying that there was a 4chan post. Why don't we just read it real quick? Why not? Let's just read it. Just read it. So this was posted the night after Jeffrey Epstein killed himself by Anonymous. Not saying anything after this, so please do not try and dox me. Last night, after the 0415 count, this means last night, after they did a check of all of the inmates, they took Jeffrey Epstein in a medical wheelchair, front cuffed, but not one triage nurse says they spoke with him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in, did not record the plate number. The guy in a green military uniform was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy, let him through the gate. I'm shaking right now. I think they switched him out. Crazy. After everything that we've learned, I mean, there's so many. Reid Hoffman, he's a left-wing billionaire, the founder of LinkedIn. He's all over these files. Obviously, we've covered. There's so many different individuals that have been named that look terrible in this. Donald Trump is not one of them. Elon Musk is not one of them. But that's the op. I just want to be very clear here. The op was always the trap that if your name ever appeared, if Jeffrey Epstein ever emailed you, you will be smeared and you'll be slandered as being one of them. And nuance is something we just don't have in high abundance these days. So that's why President Trump is suing. President Trump said, I am going to effing sue these people into the Stone Age. So I'm sorry for that giant rant. We've been covering this all weekend. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because I am. I've been watching this stuff. Trump on Air Force One goes on and says, this Michael Wolff, son of a bitch, I am going to destroy him. Now, again, Michael Wolff, I'm going to put up the documents. Michael Wolff is in the Epstein emails, colluding with Epstein to destroy Trump's life. To say, here's what the op's going to be. The op is going to be, just by sheer proximity to Jeffrey Epstein, you will be destroyed. Back in 2015, Wolff had reached out to Epstein, attempting to coach the sex trafficker on how to use his proximity to nominee Trump, to let him hang himself. It's weird how they always say stuff like that. Michael Wolff says the last thing that Jeffrey Epstein told him was, I'm just hanging out in jail. By 2016, Wolff hoped to use Epstein's information to finish Trump. In the same email exchange, Jeffrey Epstein says Trump's innocent. I got nothing on Trump. Julian Assange has said the same thing. If there was dirt on Trump, they would have found it. They would have released it. In fact, if anything, President Trump is here in Jeffrey Epstein's own hand saying he never touched the girls, he never abused the girls, he knew what Ghislaine was doing, he asked Ghislaine to stop. The lawyer defending the victims said that Donald Trump's the only guy who helped him, actually. President Trump launched his political career by telling us everything about this. I'm sorry, there's just one. We're going to jump to Rudy here in just a second, but there's just two clips you got to see. The Bill Clinton clips, please. Danny, I know, Danny, you got them. Grab them. You just got to see it. You got to see it. Jeez. It's crazy. Yes. Donald Trump started his political career talking about, telling us in 2015 that Bill Clinton was guilty as hell with Jeffrey Epstein. Here we go.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
right after Trump. Remember, in 2015, nobody knew who the hell Epstein was. Epstein was still alive. He was still operating. He was working really close with Catherine Rumler, who's the White House attorney for Barack Obama, giving her lavish gifts, meeting with Barack Obama. That's what you can see in the emails. Jeffrey Epstein was desperately trying to get to Obama. Nobody knew about this. Donald Trump started his political career telling us about Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. Here we go.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
So, Prince Andrew, the island was an absolute cesspool. Trump saying that stuff, and now here's the photo, the new photos from today. Literally released. Trump knew the whole time. Look at this. Here's Prince Andrew laying over, I don't know, an unconscious woman. I don't know what's wrong with this chick. There's no explanation for what's going on in this photo. But Prince Andrew, in a series of photos, is Prince Andrew like oogling and ogling over her. It doesn't look great. That's the Prince of Wales, Prince of whatever, Mountbatten, Windsor. Stupid title is. So it's all true? So everything was always true about the royal family? About Epstein? About him being a CIA plant? An intel plant, Mossad agent. So it was all true. So we were right. We were right again. We were right. Like, do I get the sticker? Can we get the sticker? Got what I voted for again? We were all right. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Giuliani is a man who knows so many of these people, so many people involved here. Like so much of all of this, honestly, it was happening in New York. He also knows so much about what was going on inside of that election counting house in Georgia. And he's on. I got more Epstein rants to do because we've learned so much. President Trump is now planning on suing those who lied about him, like Michael Wolff. But I want to be respectful of Rudy's time. He's ready to rock live on the show. So let's go. Rudy, thank you for being here. I'm sorry, there's just so much to unpack. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind, Rudy, over all this. We were right, dude. We were right. You were right in Georgia. Yep. You're 100% confirmed right.
100%.
Gabbard and all that. So I don't even know where to begin here. Maybe we should start there.
100% right about Georgia. I think so far everything else that's come out. I'll tell you a little about Epstein, though, if you want.
Please. Oh, please.
I represented the president when the Epstein stuff was first going to come out. So myself and our team investigated it thoroughly, and we were ready for it. You know, we were ready for some misstatement about it, or because they screwed up, so many other things. Yeah. I can tell you beyond any doubt that there is no connection between Donald Trump and the criminal part of Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, there's very little connection except when they were very young. And the story of how he threw him out is actually even tougher than he remembers it. I mean, he basically did it. Two of the women from the massage place at Mar-a-Lago came to him. Now, this is way back in 06, 07. And one of them was afraid to come to him because Epstein had been bothering her. So she went to the person in charge, and the person in charge said, well, you have no idea what Mr. Trump is like. And the lady was frightened. And they go up, and she tells him, Mr. Epstein is being inappropriate with me. He said, what? And he looks at the older woman. He says, is it really bad? And she said, yeah, it's really bad. It's not sex, but it's really bad, touching and stuff. He said, okay, let me show you what I'm going to do. Calls up Epstein, doesn't get him on the phone. He leaves a message. He said, this is Donald Trump. And probably calls him by his last name. Epstein, come by the golf course later today. All your stuff is there. And don't you ever show your face at the golf course of Mar-a-Lago again. Boom, hangs up. Then he calls up his director of security, puts him on the phone and says, this guy's out. Collect all his stuff. I don't think we have any lockers at Mar-a-Lago. If he does, get rid of everything he's got. But go over to the golf course. He has a locker there. Take everything, put it in it, make it nice so he can't complain. Give him everything. If there's any doubt, give it to him. Then put his picture up and don't let him in ever again. Ever. That's the last time he really ever thought about Epstein until this came up. Mm-hmm. And the connection between them earlier was, I wouldn't call him a friend. I'd call him one of 1,000 people that he knew and went out with here and again. Now, you remember Trump is the image of Trump as like the nighttime sort of man about town in New York was not true. Of course, he got pictures like that because he was so famous in Page Six and that sort of thing. Trump is a guy who goes home and sleeps at night, doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke. Doesn't make him a lot of fun at those parties, right? Nor does he have a lot of fun at those parties. When I was campaigning with him, which was 5 months straight in a row, he did that because he had to. I mean, we would fly from halfway around America so he could go sleep in his bed. Every time I had a cigar, I'd have to go sneak out somewhere. And so this is a totally, and then of course Mueller didn't have it. And which tells you, I mean, they scrubbed everything. They brought out parking tickets he got at 14 years old, by driving too early. I mean, they were ready to prosecute for jaywalking. So we were his lawyers then were 100% confident that even in the screwed up, dishonest system we had, the Biden system, they never dare to do Epstein because we could sue their ass off. And that's the truth to today. He had nothing to do with that part of Epstein that even gets close to criminal. Tragically, so do many other people, and some don't. So you look at a list, you got 20 perfectly innocent people who maybe were his clients in business, or hey, maybe they were Democrats who were trying to get money out of him. He was a big Democratic fundraiser. Or maybe they were guys who went to the island. That's where you got to look. I mean, and even then, you're not going to get all. There are people that went to that island that had no idea what he was. They thought he was a playboy with girls. Sometimes they would say girls who were too young, but they didn't mean. They didn't mean 17 and 16 and 15. They meant like 20 and 21 and 22. And there were the group that knew about the 12 and 13-year-olds. It'd be really hard to distinguish them unless you, and that's why there's so much difficulty here. You're going to destroy lots of people. A lot of people don't have the affirmative defense that Trump had. I mean, Trump went out of his way to throw him out of Mar-a-Lago. There are a lot of people, if God forbid it ever came, then other people could call. We probably get 100 witnesses. And, but most people can't. Most people, their name is there. Maybe he was a client. And nobody else knows what their relationship was with him. So I don't want to see any of these pedophiles go free. I'm not a Democrat, like in California, that reduced the penalties on pedophiles. They're the ones who like the pedophiles, not us. But on the other hand, it's a horrible thing if you have a man under suspicion of being a pedophile and he's not. That's a terrible thing.
So many follow-up questions, but you're exactly right. Like a good example of this is Elon Musk, who was smeared all day on Friday because he had one email exchange with Jeffrey Epstein where he effectively told him to screw off, right? But just his name just being there, zero evidence that Jeffrey Epstein even ever met Elon Musk. Elon Musk denies it entirely, but just his name there was enough. Meanwhile, you have Bill Gates. I mean, I want to ask you about this Clinton stuff. Because
I can't say that. I don't know. I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But if you're getting into
the photos, so we got the photos. If we just put up the photos,
category of there's a lot of smoke, and it may or may not be fire. That there you are. There's a lot of smoke with Clinton. Merely going to the island puts you in a little more of a suspect category, right? Going or not going to that island would put you in a more suspect category. And then the crazy photos of the touching of girls, some of the testimony that might be true or untrue. So if you want to go around with a large degree of circumstantial evidence, Clinton's got that. Am I going to say for sure? I don't know. I'm a defense lawyer as well as a prosecutor, and I don't say for sure until I see the definitive evidence. I haven't seen that. I've seen lots of stuff that raises extraordinarily serious questions, but I haven't seen the definitive proof. Now, let's go to Trump. I've seen stuff that proves he's innocent. Yeah. I mean, you don't throw him out of Mar-a-Lago if he has stuff on you. And that's ridiculous. The guy, I'm sure that Epstein had a file on people to protect himself. And if he were doing something inappropriate with Trump, he would have kept it. And when Trump started saying bad things about him, he would have threatened him and would have kept his mouth shut. I mean, that's another thing I can actually prove. If we ever have to prove it, I can have people testify that is absolutely true, that he kept the file and that people had to be real careful what they said about him. And Trump was not careful about what he said about him at all, nor is Elon Musk.
Correct. That's correct. So what about Clinton? Clinton hasn't ever been asked. I find this remarkable, Rudy. You were so close to Trump, obviously, and you are so close to Trump, and you work with him so closely.
It's untrue. It's completely untrue. Of all the things,
but what I'm saying here is Clinton was never asked about Epstein. This boggles the mind.
Me too.
Clinton was never asked about Epstein on the campaign trail. You have the Michael Wolff emails proving that they were trying to actually slander your client, Donald Trump, with Jeffrey Epstein. Hillary Clinton, as far as I know, and we have an encyclopedic knowledge of all media that exists at this company. There is no time when Hillary Clinton was asked, why was your husband on all these planes with these girls on his lap? Like, why was he in the hot tubs? And Bill has never been asked that either, and they refused to testify. So what is that? What's going on there, Rudy?
What's going on there is he's got a big problem, and they're trying to stay away from it, as they do all the time. When did they ever ask about the people who died circumstantially? Ever? I mean, Roger Ailes had a list of 27. Nobody. I mean, I don't know if that's true. Again, I don't know if it's true. Or when do they ever ask Walls about all of his connections to Red China? It sure looks like he's an agent. I mean, Harvard recruited him out of school. He went there 30 times to teach. He brought 50 kids a year there to brainwash them. You don't bring kids to China over and over again and you're not teaching communism. Otherwise, you're dead.
Yeah, but Tim Walz? Are you talking about Tim Walz?
Nobody ever asked him. That's the most extraordinary thing to me, Benny. I went through that whole campaign. I'm yelling and screaming about that. Nobody picks it up. The guy looks like, I'm not saying he is, but he looks like he's a red Chinese spy. And then he is asked no questions about it.
Yeah, that's right. Never get asked questions.
I think that's the surest indication that the Democrat is guilty when there's overwhelming, like, circumstantial evidence that might have an innocent explanation, but they don't give it.
You were mayor of New York. Some of the stuff, obviously Epstein was using New York as a major operational hub. Is any of this stuff ever come across your desk? You ever
Well, isn't it a strange thing? Epstein lived about 5 blocks from me for most of the time that I lived in New York, before and after I was mayor. And of course, not too far from Gracie Mansion. The only thing I knew about Epstein was he was a big Democrat. If you had asked me about Epstein before any of this broke, I didn't even know about his criminal case. It just passed me by. Yeah. I would have said Epstein is a big Democrat fundraiser, and I would have said he donates to a lot of sleazy people.
Yeah. A lot of sleazy people are rolling. Sleazy people are rolling through.
Isn't it possible he avoided me? I mean, I was probably the most feared prosecutor in the 20th century. So, no, I mean, that's just an objective fact.
Makes a lot of sense, Rudy. So what about the prison? What about Epstein's death? You built that prison, didn't you? You built the prison that Epstein died.
I have to disagree with my good friends here, who came to the conclusion. I find it highly unlikely that you could commit suicide in that prison. I know that prison. Not only did I put probably a record number of people in there, but I watched it be built because it was during the period of time I was an assistant U.S. attorney. They had built a new prison.
Wow.
So my friends and I would go look at it. It was kind of interesting watching a prison be built. Forget the fact that the ceilings are a bit too low for an effective hanging. But how is it possible that those cameras were out for lengthy periods of time? And as I recall it, unless it changed, there's a big central office with all kinds of cameras in front of it, just like you have in a studio, right? So those cameras cover all the sensitive spaces. They want you to think the camera wasn't working for 12, 13 hours. That would mean there'd be a big black thing on the screen for 13 hours. And nobody would notice it in the most important prisoners' area. That just doesn't make any. There are about 5 of those that make no sense, the explanations given. And they still haven't given an answer that makes sense. So I got to come away from that. Similarly, I'm not convinced that he I'm not convinced that he took his own life, or that it wasn't pushed into that direction. Sort of like put in a position where he had to be. But there are a lot of investigations, I think, the two investigations of the people who tried to kill President Clinton are woefully inadequate in terms of trying to figure out why they went overseas. And one of them looks like the only guy that was on the internet once. Yeah, they really bother me. They really bother me. They really bother me.
This is why people come up. I mean, I don't like the term conspiracy theory. This is why people come up with alternative theories
100%
for the official story. Now, here is something remarkable, Mr. Mayor, because I know that you've come on our program and you've speculated that, man, it would be really hard to kill yourself and hang yourself. It'd be almost near physically impossible.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. I mean, people have shown me possible ways to do it, but they're when things are unlikely in a criminal investigation, you don't really accept them until they're proved. Yeah. I mean, you got to go before you get the proof. You got to go with what's more likely and what's less likely. And if you want me to answer the question about Epstein, it's more likely that he took his own life, from what you know from the outside. Now, if they have definitive evidence, one way or the other, they haven't put it out.
Why does he have so many? Is it normal for an inmate to have so many linens in his cell? I mean, I don't mean to like relitigate all this. I know we've talked a lot about it, and these aren't new photos, but like,
no, that's not. It's not usual.
What's going on here, Mr. Mayor?
Not usual is suspicious, and not usual becomes one of the pieces of circumstantial evidence that you add to a bunch of things to come to the conclusion that he killed himself, unless it gets an explanation. But nobody's gotten explanations for these things. As I said, no one's explained how the cameras could be out that long. And this is by far the most sensitive guy you have in the prison. After all, the guy tried to commit suicide already. And you stupidly took him off suicide watch, which is another big question. You originally put him in a cell with a guy who's a killer, right?
This guy looks like a really nice guy. I don't know if you can see this.
I wonder if you wanted to get him killed. I mean,
he was in, by the way, for strangling a bunch of cops. Like that's what this guy did. He with his own hands, he strangled cops and broke their necks.
It's well known in prison that a lot of these guys will just turn on a sexual pervert.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was known as that by that time. He was known as a child, not just a rapist or whatever, but a sexual a person with young children.
Just really quickly, Mr. Mayor, because you have so much insight on all of this, what's resurfacing in my timeline due to the release of these files is that the feds aggressively went after a guard in the prison who created a whistleblower account of what actually happened that night. He says right here, dated, that there was a medical wheelchair that took Jeffrey Epstein out of his cell. He was cuffed. There was no triage nurse. And there was a transfer van that showed up with a military guard under it. And that Epstein didn't return, and he thinks that they actually swapped out the body. Now, this seems insane and was like obviously something that would have been written off out of hand. But now we can swipe through and see that there are actual federal documentation that they went after this guard. The feds went after this guard. They identified him, went after his bank accounts, and attempted to prosecute him for this account. That seems a little odd. Do you think that that's plausible, that they could have taken Jeffrey Epstein out of the prison and just effectively this whole thing was just staged?
Well, I mean, of course it's not plausible, but there is evidence that it may have happened. So you had to do a much more thorough investigation to discount it. Barr recused himself originally when he was seeking to be attorney general. Then he made the decision on the case and made the definitive statement that it wasn't a suicide. And then we find out that Barr's father hired him as an unqualified young man. That could be perfectly innocent. It might not be perfectly innocent. Was it ever really investigated? It doesn't seem like that. There are too many, having investigated cases where you come to the conclusion to prosecute, you come to the conclusion of innocence, or you come to the conclusion you have enough evidence but not enough to win. You could come to all three, right? you run down everything. Here they seem to have run down very little. So, I think you're quite right in having a sense of justifiable doubt about it.
I mean, you just see that everything is, so they release all these files, Mr. Mayor, and they just confirm that what we've been talking about on our channel for years was true, that there was a predator ring that did ensnare the world's most powerful people and did involve intel agencies. I mean, one of the last known photographs of Jeffrey Epstein, he's wearing an IDF sweatshirt, and he's there with CIA evidence boxes in some of these photos. Here he is bragging in an article that had to be unearthed about how he was actually a CIA operative. And then he's doing negotiations behind the scenes for arms deals and so on. And it kind of really does look like an intelligence operation cover-up with this entire death, that things have just gotten wild. The man who knew too much, right? And things got wildly out of hand, and they just scare of it.
In some ways, you can't make an exact analogy. In some ways, it reminds me of what I was telling you about walls. The issues are there that logically suggest what you just said. Not that you could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, but why is it avoided rather than very, very aggressively investigated? That's the part that makes you even more suspicious. I mean, I've had pieces of evidence that make it look like the person is absolutely guilty, and they turn out to be dead wrong. Most of the time, they turn out to be right. And Louis Nizer, who was a great trial lawyer, once wrote a book, and he had a thing in it that said, "You investigate by common sense. What makes common sense is usually true. And when it isn't, you're a defense lawyer, you got to prove that, because the prosecutor is going to use whatever makes common sense is true." And that's the way everything that makes common sense, you write down and you follow it as an investigator. And usually it turns out that it's right. And every once in a while you get surprised. Boy, that guy looked like the guy who did it. But this uniformly hasn't happened under the Obama, Biden, Hillary thing in cases where they could have some involvement. And that's all because they're crooked. They may not have done all the things we suspect, but they probably did a lot of them. And they sure as hell had obstructions of justice, of anything that they were involved in.
So you're saying that that it just kind of, it stands to reason that Jeffrey Epstein was working for intelligence agencies.
Yeah, the logical case is much stronger that he killed himself. The logical case is, and the fact that they haven't disproved the logical case makes it even stronger. And it's a tragedy, because that's what causes the public distrust. Human beings use their common sense. People you're talking to, and many, many more, use their common sense. And they come to a common sense conclusion. They're going to stick with that no matter what you say to them, unless you do the right investigation and you prove that it's not true. Look, they said that Trump, that the Steele affidavit was true. Okay, now you find out that in the Steele affidavit, they say that that Michael Cohen was in Prague on a certain date and talking to agents of Putin. You then find out that on that day, he was in Los Angeles at a ballpark watching his son try out either for a college team or a major league team. And he had been there for 4 days. And I know, because I helped to establish FISA, and I trained Comey, that one of the definite things you would have run down to corroborate that, like if that were me and I was signing the affidavit, Cohen went to Prague on May 22nd. Call up the State Department. Please get me the records of his passport. Where was Cohen? Is there an entry there for Prague? Back in that date? No. Gee, Mr. Attorney General or Special Prosecutor, he never went to Prague ever in his life. Okay. Mark number one, we may have a liar here. Who he swears 4 times is telling the truth. And he swears that he validated it. Well, that's not validating it. How about this? They went into a council office in Miami. I've forgotten which government, one of the governments. And they got a visa extension. This country has never had a council office in Miami ever. That's one of the things you would have corroborated. You would have, one of the things you'd list, what are the things that have independent proof? And this is how you corroborate. What are the things that have independent proof? You put it on a list. There are 10 of them. And then you go check them out, like those 2. And you find out the first 3 are wrong. Now you don't sign the affidavit that it's validated or go to jail for perjury unless you're James Cardinal Comey.
Did you apply this reasoning to the Georgia election? And can you please give us an update on what's going on?
The Georgia election, I know beyond any doubt, was fixed. And I know that Trump won it. And it's going to turn out that the number that I had and my staff is going to be low. We thought he won it by about 40 or 50,000. It probably went over 100. The last revelation alone would prove it. There are 5 others. It was actually proven by December 30th, 2020, when a Senate committee of the Georgia legislature submitted a report from a very, very, really brilliant senator who had about half of our proof and half of his own that showed about 8 different ways in which the election was fixed, and with definitive numbers. So if you take the 300 plus votes, just most recently located, that had no certification, so we have no proof they ever were voted. And they most likely, those are the ones that you pull in at the last minute to try to patch up the laws. Those votes have to be taken out. They're illegal. There's no doubt about it. That's 300,000. They're in Fulton County. You take 300,000 votes out of Fulton County. You just deprive them of 300,000 votes. Just pull those ballots out. Go back and recount Fulton County. Trump wins the election by 70 or 80,000 votes.
Yeah.
Now, we could take the 300 plus thousand votes, also similar number, that are missing. They're also from Fulton County. So no, we take
what do you think they're finding there? You know, Tulsi Gabbard's on the ground, and that would indicate that there's some type of perhaps foreign involvement here.
That I'm not as a that I had evidence about. I had suspicions about it. I never felt comfortable I never felt comfortable with that because I didn't think we had enough proof. Same thing with the machines. I didn't think the machines were enough to prove a definitive conclusion, because most of the machine results had come in by the time we all went to sleep. And even if they fixed the machines, they didn't fix it. They didn't do a good enough job. The election got turned with the paper ballots. That's where so I'm not saying the machines were valid or invalid, or that Sidney was wrong about the machines, but just as the head of the investigation, I thought we were wasting time on that. The more maybe do that a year from now. Some committee can do that. We're not going to get to a definitive result with those machines, but we sure as hell are going to get to a definitive result with the paper ballots. I mean, they probably brought more paper into Pennsylvania in the month before the election than we ever had in the United States. I mean, they were sending trucks and trucks and trucks of paper. We were absolutely certain that in Georgia, they had a factory 3 blocks away from the arena in which they were printing up the ballots they needed to fix the election. We could never get the U.S. attorney to do a search warrant. When we uncovered an ATF agent uncovered a possible burning of ballots, Barr assured us that it would be covered, and the U.S. attorney sent no one. The ATF agent is willing to testify to it today. I mean, there's so much evidence in, and come on. I mean, your eyes don't lie, Ben.
So you think that there was a factory that they were printing ballots at next?
I don't think it. I had evidence of it. I never was allowed to present it. You know, people say, oh, gosh, you lost so many cases. I actually only presented one case in court in Pennsylvania. I quit on the courts. Other lawyers, I had a different strategy. My strategy was to present this evidence to legislature so we preserve it. My fear was we would lose it for history. And I think they were trying to do that. I thought we had a narrow chance of turning around the election, given what was arrayed against us. and how the courts wouldn't even have hearings, which was very suspicious. I mean, I've done 100 TROs as a lawyer, temporary restraining orders. You see them now with the president's duties. They'll always delay something, always. I never got one judge that was willing to listen to one witness. And I figured out why in the first case. But once you hear a witness, it's very different than just hearing Giuliani or Sidney or some lawyer talking for him. You'll hear the woman say, they trained me to fix ballots. And she's a very sweet old lady who's a very religious Catholic. And she starts crying. Then you hear another one and another one and another one, another one, another one. Country goes crazy. So they tried to. So what we did was we presented it to the legislatures so that it would be there under oath, so that now, as you acquire some additional evidence, you can add it to that. And I think it's definitively proven that he won Georgia, that he won Wisconsin, and that he won Pennsylvania. I think that Michigan, it is proven that there were massive acts of fraud, but it's not proven yet. It's not at the number, or not for me. There may be people who have done it. And Arizona, I felt we could get there if they didn't hide all the ballots. And everybody hid the ballots. We have never gotten to see, meaning the Trump people, any of his lawyers, me or any of the others, we've never gotten to see the actual ballots. The governor, in this case, the Republican governor of Georgia and the Republican Secretary of State have hidden those ballots as if they're phony.
And now the feds have them.
We finally have them. You had to get them by a raid, and I fear. I know that 300,000 or so are burned, and I have an ATF agent who has proof of that, which we presented to Barr, and Barr ignored it.
So they burned the ballots. That has to be illegal.
They burned. Well, I can't say exactly 300,000. That was his very, very quick estimate from what he saw very quickly. But nobody would come and investigate it.
Would you give us the evidence? I mean, would you elucidate for us? There's a factory that was printing ballots?
That's an allegation. Okay. We've never able to prove that. But that's an allegation we had from 4 or 5 witnesses, and we wanted to get a warrant.
It makes sense.
But do I believe that one is one I probably believe is true. And I also believe that the ballots are phony, because if they weren't phony, they'd have turned them over to us on day one. They wouldn't have fought 20 battles to keep in front of us. They wouldn't have thrown our expert out when he showed up there with a machine that scared the hell out of them. It was a machine that would tell you if the same stationery was used. There was one stationery that was approved as the ballot. This machine could take all the ballots, put them through, and it could spit out the ones that were different stationery. And some of the reasonable people in Georgia agreed to that. And we were all set to do it. And the morning that Pulitzer showed up, the guy who was going to do it, they had the state police there. I think the governor sent them.
Wow.
The Republican governor.
They sent the police after you. I just want to pop up a.
They prosecuted me in Georgia too.
Trump has the most legendary mugshot of Georgia, but this is a good one. I mean, that's it still goes hard. And you
is that mine?
Yep, still yours. It's yours, and you could still release a rap album, Mr. Mayor, here with this as the cover. Just wanted to get in closing here your last laugh to Fannie Willis and to Georgia. What do you hope happens here?
My last laugh is I should do one of these AI things with the prisoners applauding for me when I came in to get. You know what they did in order to humiliate me, and particularly the president, but it also included me and Professor Eastman and everyone else. Rather than fingerprint us in the courthouse, which I always did when I was a U.S. attorney, they sent us over to the Fulton County Jail, which is under federal supervision because it's one of the worst in America. And they made us walk, it seemed to me, like a quarter of a mile through prisons to get to an office where they fingerprinted us. So in other words, we had to do like a catwalk of some kind. So I went first. I went the day before the president. I start walking, and luckily I'm used to. I ran a prison system, so I'm used to prisons. I'm not used to being applauded in prison, however. I'm used to being booed. The people are applauding me, and they're yelling out all sorts of obscenities about Fannie, which you would expect, right? Because she's their prosecutor. But they're yelling out obscenities about her sexually. sexual conduct. And this is before we knew about the guy. And when it was over with, I thought that was really weird. And then, of course, a few weeks later, it came out that they were stealing money from the state to go on vacation together. And he questioned me for 3 hours. He didn't know. He was. I kind of helped him with the questions. No, that isn't the way you ask a question. He had no idea how you present a case to a grand jury. Not a single. I couldn't understand it. And here's another one that's weird. My testimony's over. He comes up to me, the boyfriend does, and he says, Fanny would like to meet with you. She has great admiration for your work as a prosecutor. So we go upstairs and we shake hands with her. We spend 5 minutes with her. I tell her a few war stories. And my lawyer, who's a great lawyer, says, she's never going to prosecute. And I said, I just have to look in her eyes. She's a crooked politician. She's going to prosecute she's going to prosecute the president. And she did. But she's phony enough to have me come up there and have like a social session because she wanted to meet a famous person. Weird people.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if your team can show you the shot here, if you can actually see the shot, but we did actually make an AI of all the prisoners cheering for you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I want that. That's
great. we're that good around here.
You are good.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, they should have just sent the Epstein list to us. They should have sent it to us first. DOJ could have just sent it through. We get through that sucker fast and tell you who's guilty, who's not. And there you go. Way to go, Rudy. Well, don't worry. We'll frame it and send it to you.
Yeah, I would love it. They did. They did the same thing for the president the next day.
Of course.
But yes, I told them when I came back that night, I said, "You're going to get a big surprise." And I thought, well, maybe they wouldn't walk him through that. But they did. Imagine sending the former president of the United States through and the charge was absurd. I mean, the charge was just completely jerky. Of course, he has the right to raise the question. And when they take the question or the thing that he put to Ratzenberger, you can't find me 11,000 votes. Now that you know, because he knew everything I knew. Now that you know what I would be informing him of as a lawyer, that there's 300,000 ballots here, there's 50,000 ballots here. There are young people, underage people who are registered as having voted. He's thinking in his head there probably are 200, 300,000 questionable ballots hanging around. So when he says you can't find 11,000, he doesn't mean at all go make up 11,000. He's saying to him, are you so incompetent that with 300,000 ballots hanging around that are questionable, you can't find 11,000? I got not only my own lawyers, but I got lawyers writing me letters telling me there are phony ballots. And you can't, and my people tell me you're not investigating at all. I mean, he pronounced something to the effect, it's not the exact words, but something to the effect it was a perfect election. And the minute he said that, you knew he was a liar, because what it was surely, before you could prove the definitive conclusion, was that it had an extraordinary number of irregularities or fraud.
Rudy, it's always a pleasure to have you on, because it's like being able to listen to a man who's just straight up observed all of the history that we often talk about on this show, but somebody who's like physically there. And so as much as we've talked about it, now our team has AIs of you and Trump getting cheered both together inside of the prison. Okay, we'll frame this one up for you too, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Don't you worry. We got your back, man. It's just always an honor to have you on. Thank you very much, Rudy, for sharing with us today.
You're doing great. You're doing a great job. So many more things I wanted to cover with you, but we'll do it another time.
All right, here's Rudy. He's got millions on X. He also has his own live stream. You can check out the Rudy Giuliani Show. And here's his account. Obviously, you know him. A great, beautiful photo of Charlie up there. Godspeed, Mr. Mayor. Always speaking truth. Godspeed. Godspeed.
Well, God bless you too. And your beautiful family.
Thank you, sir. Man, holy moly. So Rudy doesn't think Epstein killed himself. Rudy's just like, yo, I built that jail. He didn't kill himself. He didn't do it. Does Rudy think that he was that Epstein had a body swap? Oh yeah, maybe. Okay. This from the guy who built the prison. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty aggressive. Very interesting. Rudy also making, obviously, declarative statements about Trump's innocence, but not other people's innocence. That's Mr. Mayor for you. President Trump making the definitive statement on his own innocence here, saying he's going to sue Michael Wolff and then sue Trevor Noah. Let's take these back to back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock and roll.
What did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf, who's a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise, and that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. And maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know, but we're going to certainly sue them.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may, I guess so, because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically. That's not a friend.
That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it?
We've gone so long on this show. We might as well just play the clips back to back to keep her moving. But yeah, so this is let me couch that quickly. This is President Trump saying this weekend that he's going to sue Michael Wolff. As we showed you, Michael Wolff was colluding with Epstein in order to smear Trump. You watched that operation take place live last night at the Grammys. You definitely didn't watch the Grammys. Neither did I. Neither did anybody else. I can't wait for the ratings to come out here. This is going to be the lowest rated Grammys in history. But Trevor Noah, who's Trevor Noah, comes out and does the op. It's doing the op. This is why we went so hard at Jimmy Kimmel. They're running an op. They're knowingly lying, knowing that a lot of people are low information or have real jobs and don't have the time. And so they lied about Trump being a predator. They lied about Trump doing all these illegal activities with Jeffrey Epstein. They know that half the people will believe it if they keep telling you the lie. Trevor Noah told the lie last night, in spite of the fact that Trump has been now wholly and thoroughly exonerated. And so Trump says, I'm going to sue his ass. I'm going to sue Michael Wolff, and now I'm going to sue Trevor Noah. Here we go. President Trump. Grammy Awards the worst, virtually unwatchable. CBS is lucky to not have this garbage litter their airwaves any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, whoever he is as bad as Jimmy Kimmel. He says that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I've never been to the Epstein Island or anywhere close. Tonight's false and defamatory statement have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah's a total loser. Better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC for plenty of money. Ask George Slopadopoulous about this. Yeah, obviously, he sued ABC News, got a $16 million settlement. He sued CBS News, got a $17 million settlement. Donald Trump's got $25 million settlements from Facebook. He's got massive settlements lined up, I think, against CNN, The Washington Post, New York Times. President Trump sued them all. And he keeps winning. Not good. But now's the time. Just do it. Just let her rip. There's a ton. We've covered as quickly as we possibly can the major news in here. Jay-Z and Pusha T, they're two rappers. They're mentioned in these files also. But pretty much everything you'd expect out of these Jeffrey Epstein files. The monsters of the world colluding together for abuse, sick rituals, things like that. Nicki Minaj going off on the on Jay-Z last night during the Grammys. Trevor Noah went and attacked Nicki Minaj, who's been hanging out with Trump. You all understand that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power. If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time to do some story times. Since I was trying not to say this, but they keep attempting to bully me. Also, Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated and until I tell you about the sabotage this Rico is finding about Billboard. Oh boy. There's a photo of him with Aaliyah and Beyonce when they were very young. Okay. I mean, listen, man. If you got to pull the grenade pin, just pull it, throw it, let it rip. There's so much in here. I think that it's going to take a while for all of it to be rolled out. But man, dude, did they ever drop the motherload? So many photos, so many videos of Jeffrey Epstein chasing women around his apartment. He's every bit. There's no nuance here. He's an absolute total predator and abuser. And for some people, obviously, he was procuring these women, and those people were sometimes, very often, extremely rich, titans of industry, material leaders around the world, sometimes members of the royal family. Everything you thought about Epstein was true. Everything we all thought about Epstein was true. Everything the media told you was a lie. Everything. Clinton, Prince Andrew, Bill Gates. We were right. They were wrong. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. We're very excited about the release. We're going through still lots of things today. But you should be celebrating. This should be a joyous moment for all of us to truly see this. And I think there's going to be more to come. Final little node on all of this. Final little nugget here is that you have to prosecute the Clintons. Breaking right now is that the Clintons are going to be held in contempt of Congress. The vote's going to be tomorrow. The Clintons already have had about a dozen Democrats vote to hold them in contempt in committee. So how many more will vote on the House floor? If the House votes to hold the Clintons in contempt for refusing to testify on Jeffrey Epstein, that goes to the DOJ. The DOJ is not in the mood to F around with this kind of stuff. And so that's going to get ready. Probably take it live if we can roll with it. And so you have to prosecute. You have to drag in Bill Gates for testimony under oath. You have to do it. You have enough evidence that you should do it. You should bring Bill Gates in. Prince Andrew has to testify before Congress. Reid Hoffman has to testify before Congress. This is a non-exhaustive list of people who are famous, rich, powerful, who look horrible in these files in their release. Horrible. All of these people, of course, colluding with Jeffrey Epstein, engaging with Jeffrey Epstein. Get that creepy video of him chasing women, he's chasing women all around his kitchen. All of these people were engaging with Jeffrey Epstein whilst he was a convicted predator. Again, it's fine. The last thing I'll say on this. Jeffrey Epstein already had a stay in jail for life card. In 2006 through 2008, the Bush FBI, run by Robert Mueller, well, amazing how it all works, isn't it? With Bill Barr working in the administration, Bill Barr's family, of course, a family that got Jeffrey Epstein into the business. It's a matter of fact. You can look it up. His dad hired him at the Dalton School. That's very strange. Jeffrey Epstein do any math, by the way? He was hired as a math instructor at the Dalton School. Jeffrey Epstein ever doing any math in any of these emails? Is he ever helping anyone else with anybody ever getting helped out with math problems? So in 2006, there was so much material, so much prosecutable material on Jeffrey Epstein, could have put him away for life. That's what the prosecutors have said on our program that were involved. Put him away for life. Abusing all these young kids. They could have just done it. They could have just done it. But instead, unlike anything anyone's ever seen, the feds were told to back off. And why was that? Because he belonged to intelligence. Jeffrey Epstein was an intel op. Instead, they gave him his own wing of the prison, let him go home on the weekends, never shackled him, gave him the most minimal charges, and then gave absolution to all of the people involved in the crime. Ghislaine Maxwell, all the rest of them. Ghislaine Maxwell is arguing right now that she should get out of prison because of this absolution that the federal government gave her. They gave her the ability to walk. So nothing bad will ever happen to you. Who has that kind of power? I mean, you want to talk about two tiers of justice. You want to talk about no one is above the law? Bull. These people are above the law. The billionaire predator class is above the law, for sure. That's what Jeffrey Epstein proves. And that's actually the thing that is the most damning in all of this, is that all of these monsters that were dealing with Jeffrey Epstein, Catherine Rumler with the Obama administration, she was the White House counsel for Obama, working with Epstein, being lavish with gifts with Epstein, White House counsel. They were all doing it after he was proven to be a pedophile. He was like more attractive for these people after he was proven to be a pedophile. It's Alex Acosta. It's the interview I always want to do. The interview I'm dying to do. It's this Alex Acosta interview. I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. They had Epstein dead to rights for the rest of his life. Would have locked him up for the rest of his life. What he provably did in Palm Beach during those years in Palm Beach there, while Trump was kicking him out of his club and stuff, what he provably did was enough to just put him in jail for life. I've looked through the file. You can look through all the file. But instead, the feds created a plea agreement unlike anything you've ever seen and put this monster right back into business, more powerful than ever. Why? One photo to prove it. One photo to prove why. What's it say on these bins right here? What's it say on these bins, Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, wow, would you look at that? Oh, wow, look at this photo. No explanation as to what this photo is, but you don't need one, do you? There you go. Jeffrey, zoom out. Jeffrey Epstein giggling and laughing with his handler, most likely, right? So here's Jeffrey Epstein's handler. Here they are inside of some CIA cover sweatshop, and they're just having a grand old time. Is this everything you need? This is everything you need. Yeah. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that will prove that's what really scares them. So we're going to keep asking questions about it. Everything that we assumed was true is true, was proven, and more in these releases. And now the real questions. Is Jeffrey Epstein still alive? Did Jeffrey Epstein actually die in that cell? Where's Jeffrey Epstein today? Is he really dead? How'd he die exactly? Nobody's ever explained that to us. Nobody's ever explained that to us. There are like 15 different accounts of it. Certainly the people that, just like with JFK, certainly the people that did the medical autopsy on him said, this guy didn't hang himself. Right? Is it even Jeffrey Epstein? I don't think that now it's like now you have to ask the next questions. And then the final, most critical question. Why were so many rich and powerful people so excited to hang out with the world's foremost pederast? Provable pederast. Not like me. It's not like a pejorative. Like he was prosecuted for pedophilia, right? Even though he got out of jail free, got his get out of jail free card. Why? Here's this photo. It seems like Jeffrey Epstein actually grew in power. So what does that say about your elites? What does that say about your political class? If they're all more attracted to doing business with Jeffrey Epstein after his pedophile prosecution. What's that say exactly? You know exactly what it says. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. Got to be healthy to do a show like this. Coming in with a piss and vinegar, as they say. There's just too much going on, man. Too much going on. Cowboy colostrum is one of those things that kind of rattles around in the old tin here, right? So you got when you get to be my age, I'm on the wrong side of 30. I turned 40 this year. You gotta make sure that you're getting plenty of protein. You gotta make sure that you're getting nutrients and vitamins whenever and wherever you can. Often, my life is on the go. I mix colostrum with my coffee, with the protein and the colostrum in the morning. And creatine. That's my first cup of coffee. So it's packed with things that are good for me. Today's sponsor is Cowboy Colostrum. It offers one of the highest quality bovine colostrums available in the U.S. Cowboy Colostrum is 100% made in the United States from grass-fed cows. Gassy cows, right? Al Gore. There you go. Unlike other colostrum brands, Cowboy Colostrum is on the first true day whole colostrum, rich bioactives and immunoglobulins, growth factors. It's so good for you. It comes in great flavors. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get it for a limited time. 25% off the entire order. Head to cowboycolostrum.com/Benny. Use the code Benny at checkout. That's 25% off when you use the code Benny at cowboycolostrum.com/Benny. What's inside of that coffee mug? Oh, man, it's Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee's inside that mug. Been such friends to us, this great company. They have had our back. They've had our back by making sure that we are properly, overly caffeinated every single day that we do this show. Blackout Coffee is just a damn great American coffee company. 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Blackout Coffee is celebrating it with a year-long new roasts, including some very special editions that we may be sponsoring and partnering with. Anyways, perfect for work, travel, or keeping at your desk in the go bag. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the code Benny for 20% off your first order. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Support American jobs and Americans being caffeinated enough to fight the communists. All right. Speaking of communists, oh man, Bad Bunny and Don Lemon. Do we really have to do this? Do we really have to do this? It's like the woke Grammys. I don't know, man. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll just do the woke Grammys supercut. I'm so sick of these people. I'm so sick of this. Don Lemon got his ass arrested, and we'll see. The tough deal for the Trump administration is that Don Lemon is one of these like black hole narcissists who just like will thrive. He's like parasitic. He'll just thrive off of this attention. And he was at the Grammys last night. And every artist at the Grammys, of course, decided that what America needs more of is lecturing and scolding from a bunch of room temperature IQ entertainers who fell ass backwards and lucked their way into becoming superstars, probably through occult rituals. And then they have some type of position to lecture us, these people who are totally managed and operated by the machine. And you can tell that because all their answers are exactly the same. Here's what the woke Grammys were, in case you were wondering if woke is dead, and no. Is our battle over? Have we won all of culture? No. Are these people's lives and performances less relevant than ever? That's a matter of fact. The only music that actually matters to anyone anymore, frankly, is country music, the only music that tops the charts. In fact, for the first time in my lifetime or yours, there were 0 rap songs on the Billboard Top 100. Nobody cares. It's all failed. It's failed. It's a failed experiment, all of this. But the Grammys decided to go ahead and use this platform to lecture all of us. It was cringe. Here we go.
Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me.
I'm going to say eyes out.
And I'm going to leave this and say ICE.
Immigrants built this country, literally.
I want to say I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant. I wouldn't be here.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
To first-time Grammy nominee who's in the house here, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's right. She was nominated in the audiobook category.
Let me show you how you do it. Let me show you how you actually do it. Because we pride ourselves in having an uplifting show here. This artist named Jelly Roll, who is a country music artist. Maybe you like his music, maybe you don't. I think it's totally fine music. And Jelly Roll won Best New Artist of the Year or whatever. And the first thing he does is go up and thank Jesus Christ. Here we go.
It was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believe that those two things could change my life. I believe that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life. And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus
That is what using your power for good looks like. Then when these goblin reporters decided to try and make it political, when Jelly Roll is clearly just up there to talk about being in prison and then how his life got turned around and be like just a powerful voice for the kingdom of Christ, they said, well, what about ICE? What about talk about the thing, current thing. Talk about current thing. And here's his response. It's like, this is like pitch perfect, man. This guy's new at this. It's perfect. I mean, this is obviously he's new at this. He didn't get the talking points, right? Or maybe someone who can't be bought. I don't know. What an unbelievable answer this.
I can tell you that people shouldn't care to hear my opinion, man. You know, I'm a dumb redneck. I haven't watched enough. I didn't have a phone for 18 months. I've had one for 4 months and don't have social media. I hate to be the artist that's that aloof, but I've become so disconnected from what's happening. And I'm just not I grew up in a house of like insane pandemonium and like I didn't even know politics were fucking real until I was in my mid-20s in jail. Like, that's how disconnected. When you grow up in a drug addict household, you think we like have common calls about what's happening in world politics? Like, we're just trying to find a way to survive, man, you know? And I have a lot to say about it, and I'm going to in the next week. And everybody.
So, what a perfect answer. Yeah, we have other things. Like, I come from the real world, and we have other concerns. Billie Eilish said nobody is illegal on stolen land. No one's illegal on stolen land. Well, what about the land that Billie Eilish stole? And Billie Eilish, who's this recording artist, I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I've never heard a Billie Eilish song. I wouldn't be able to name, put a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to name a single Billie Eilish song, whatever a Billie Eilish is. Whatever the hell that is. I mean, is that COVID? That was the COVID virus. I just saw it. They invited the COVID. Yeah, well, actually, these people are probably massive fans of the COVID virus. This is probably like a hero to all of them. Show me the COVID virus again, Klein. Yeah, go back through the clip. Right there. Right there. That's it. I see it. There it is. They invited COVID. These guys are huge fans of COVID. They created COVID. Anyway. Look at this house. Look at this house. I'm not trying to dox anyone or where they live, but like you can see that Billie Eilish is living on stolen land. That's a giant property. Look at the trees around that place. Is that like a golf course too? Oh my. That's a huge home, Billie Eilish. Look at that pool. Wow. I mean, if you are up in the hills in California, that is a pretty expensive piece of land. Billie Eilish lives in a $14 million Los Angeles mansion. This is a property that used to be owned by the Tonka tribe. Tavanka tribe. No one's illegal on stolen land. Where is Billie Eilish giving her mansion back? Is Billie Eilish even American? Are you on stolen land? You know, we stole this land from you, British people. Isn't she British? We stole this land from you. Like, get off our stolen land. Like, no. Why aren't you giving it back to the Tonka tribe? Why aren't you giving it back? Oh, okay. That's fine. She's on stolen land. Tonka tribe should go in and should do a land acknowledgement at Billie Eilish's house. How can I pay for this? How can I support a GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, for the Tonka tribe to take back over what's rightfully theirs? The Billie Eilish mansion in LA. All right, enough, ladies and gentlemen. If you were having trouble with your mortgage, with your home, American Financing is there for you. Why would you be having trouble with your home if you have high-interest credit card debt? High-interest credit card debt is an absolute career killer, life killer. It is slavery. It is something that can destroy your potential because it just robs you. You never feel like you can get ahead. Even President Trump says that credit card limits should be maxed out, capped out at 10%. I agree. But unfortunately, because of usury rates, they're up at 20 and 30%. That should be illegal. Anyway, my friends at American Financing can help you get out of that high-interest credit card debt. call 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny will help you consolidate your debt into something that is far more reasonable and what I would argue legal. So go ahead and give them a call today. Also, this show brought to you by Shopify. Shopify is the #1 e-commerce site in the world. They have an incredible series of optimizing tools that has helped us. I mean, this is the only way to describe it, right? They have an incredible design studio. They've accelerated our efficiency of getting our products up and out. Their marketing team helped actually put together some of the marketing for our Christmas ornament. And also, ladies and gentlemen, their commerce experts have helped us get our brand up and out, locked in with 24/7 support. Shopify has helped us launch our store, and they can help you launch your dreams as well. So it's time to turn those what ifs into and get yourself a $1 per month trial. Shopify.com/Benny. Go to Shopify.com/Benny. Shopify.com/Benny today for this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, very cool. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jelly Roll clip. Very excited about some work that we're going to be doing in Nashville in the middle of the week. More on that tomorrow. Yes, it will include Kid Rock. RFK Jr. is going to be a blast. Now time to get back to roasting Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom on X and more, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and check one poll before we go today. Will anyone be jailed over the Epstein disclosures? Oh no, I don't like this one. Okay, let's go. Will anyone be jailed over Epstein disclosures? 12% chance. It was up pretty high. It was up at 51% on February 1st. 51%, and now it has crashed. I like the photo. The photos of Hillary Clinton in jail. Well, would the Clintons going to jail for contempt of Congress be a part of this? I don't know. The betting markets are not strong on someone being jailed for these Epstein disclosures, but you'd have to investigate. The only way to fix all of this, you have to put someone in prison. None of this juice has been worth the squeeze unless somebody goes to jail for this. That's what Elon Musk is constantly calling for. This is what we have been saying for a very long time. This is not about like pointing and leering at things. This, speaking of the Leering Center closed down, very sad. You know, I don't know if we have a Sarah McLachlan, I will remember you. Will you remember me, like in memoriam for the Leering Center? Unfortunately, the Leering Center is now gone in Minneapolis. Too bad. Remember, this place got $2 million worth of your tax dollars. Anyway, change can happen if you go out and do the work. That's what we try to do in California, and this is obviously what we're trying to do with Epstein. But you got to arrest people. People have got to suffer the consequences for what's going on, for what they did. If you don't do it, if you don't do that, then what has this all been about? Just so you can lie to us about how that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Nah, man. No, thank you. No, that ain't worth it. So people have to go to jail. I really hope that this market is wrong, but we'll see. I mean, time will tell, right? Time will tell. The Leering Center. I will remember you. Will you remember me? We probably can't play the song, right? It's probably copyright. Whatever. All right. We should find our own AI version though to play of it. Here we go. This is the Leering Center is now officially closed. Minnesota Quality Leering Center shuts down. The state says, "Oh, the state actually shut them down." But I thought all these kids. I thought all these kids were getting educations there. I thought they were getting educations. And it brought us so much joy and so much love and so much laughter. I can't help it. We got to do just one. We did the production last night. You got to show me the rappers outside of the Leering Center, and then show me Nick Sotor. outside of the Leering Center. Oh man, it's funny. Here's Nick Sotor. And we'll just do our memories. We need to find something that is like something that is like the Sarah McLachlan. We need to do something that we need to have some type of soundtrack that we can play so that we could, like, whenever these people destroy their lives, but they brought us such great joy, we can like play a sympathetic and emotional soundtrack. Okay, here we go. So when the Leering Center was first discovered by Nick Sotor, both friends of the show, went to the Leering Center and had this wonderful exchange with the Somali fraudsters.
Here tonight. What's up? I'm just here to wish everybody a happy new year from the quality Leering Center here tonight. You want to say anything to everybody? You're trespassing, sir. Huh? You're trespassing in my country. Live, sir. Live, please. Live. What do you mean live? I'm living well. Hold it up.
Okay. That and the rappers.
What's up? I'm just here to wish everybody
this and the rappers who went and staged concerts for the kids outside of the Leering Center. Here we go. This guy's named Big Dooski. He's a Minneapolis rapper.
Center, man. We finna do a free concert for the kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many kids here, but we found a concert for the kids.
Go see how many kids there.
He's back again for concert for the kids. I got Ox Blood, Mr. Dog Shit. We finna turn up. Hey! I promise you, I kill over blue strips, even dollar bills. I think we are good.
This is funnier than anything SNL has done in years. This is pure comedy. It's comedy gold. That is so funny. Let's go to a free concert for all these kids. How many kids are here? I will remember you. Will you remember me? Okay. All right. Well, we will remember the Quality Leering Center. R.I.P. Gone too soon. Okay, here we go. 2 Corinthians 12:10 for our verse of the day. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecution, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong for Christ's sake. You know, it's amazing, like, people that happened this weekend where people, like, come up, you know, like, gave a speech, and I don't write any notes. And I, like, think about it. I pray. Like, when we give speeches, I, like, pray about it. And you know, you just hope that God gives you the words. This is what we do before every show. Like, you know, like, before every show here, before every live stream. I don't have a script written out. Some people do. It's unbelievable. Some people do literally read still from a prompter, like while doing streams, or they don't live stream. They don't actually, we're live. They don't actually live stream, right? I can show you the actual, this is live. This is the time, okay? This is the time of the time and the date. We are actually live, like some people that do big pre-records and then run them as their lives to lie to you. Anyway, the point is that, like, you know, it's great to kind of like let her rip and just sort of like live life redlining, because then you can't take any of the credit. It's either like God has his hand on your life because you're aggressively just like working and trying and building. Either God has his hand in your life or like he's trying to turn you in a different direction. It's awesome. And that's what this verse says. Delight in weakness and insults and hardship and persecutions. Gavin Newsom's trying to drag and roast us right now. I love it. The moment I saw my team send that in, I'm like, yes! I delight in it. Gives us a great opportunity to fight, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why we fight. We fight for our kids. We fight for the better future for this nation. We are winning. We are the only ones that are actually having kids. In fact, Trump counties, Trump states are growing exponentially, unlike what Gavin Newsom says in his fact check that gets all his facts wrong. And we have so much to live for. So be encouraged and march with us on to victory. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Did you know that in order to send Trevor Noah into space using a catapult, The catapult would need an arm that is 300 miles long and accelerates at 15,000 miles per hour in order to launch Trevor Noah into outer orbit. Did you know that if a Trevor Noah was flying toward the sun, head first, at 23,000 miles per hour, his face on the front of his head, which is closer to the sun, would melt faster than the back of his head, which receives no sunlight? And did you know that if the sun rejected Trevor Noah and shot him back toward the Earth with super megaton force, hurtling through the atmosphere toward Florida, that his ashy remains would fall over the amazing Benny Show studio in Tampa, Florida, where you can learn more fun facts like these.
Benny Show, where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty.